I spent my whole childhood, well, like we talked about in the podcast, pitching to the fake Twins hitters in the backyard, the Curry Puckett pitching, Kent Herbeck, all those guys, and then playing at the University of Minnesota, then signing with the Twins, playing with them throughout the whole minor league system, and then finally getting called up. You sit there and you don't really know how to react because the thing that you've been waiting for in your whole life finally has happened, and you kind of sit there and go, well, what do I do now? And so it's very surreal. My first kind of slap across the face aha moment was when I walked out 5-10 steps out on the field. I remember looking around and I said to myself, this finally feels the way it should. Because in the minor leagues, you always feel as though it's better college baseball. Because a lot of the college stadiums are fairly similar to size and it's not that much of a difference, but then all of a sudden you're at a stadium that holds 50,000 people, 40,000 people, whatever it is, instead of one that holds 15. And it's a very neat experience.
That first outing, you allowed 3 home runs to some pretty big name guys. Kaczynski, Kanerico, and Dunn.
Yep. Dunn got me that game?
Dunn got you that game.
Oh, God. I usually owned that guy throughout my career. Whatever, okay. You know the stats better than I do, I'm sure.
This is what the box scores.
Okay, well, that's probably accurate. I was always a pitcher that gave up home runs. And so, obviously, no one likes to give up 3 home runs in a game. I mean, that's a little ridiculous. But that didn't really bother me. And it was one of those games, too, literally the wind was blowing out. At U.S. Cellular Field there, it kind of gets this wind starts whipping around. And it was probably blowing out at 15 or 20 miles an hour. Yeah, you never want to have 3 home runs in a game, but... I was pitching against Texas. They were the hottest team in baseball right then. First in wins, runs scored, home runs, all this. And I remember sitting there our first game against them, and they're announcing lineup, and 6 of the guys on their lineup are starting all-stars. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, my God, how am I going to get these guys out? I mean, I'm basically going to be pitching against an all-star team. And we didn't play too well those first 2 games. I can't remember if I pitched the 3rd or the 4th game of that series, but we didn't play too well the first 2 games. And that even added to my anxiety level because I think Scotty Diamond, he was doing really well at that time, and he didn't pitch very well against them. They hit him around a little bit. And I was sitting there and I'm like, well, usually kind of however Sky's doing, I know I can keep up with him. And he got hit around, so I was sitting there going, oh boy, what's going to happen? And then I ended up going out, and I think I pitched 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs. And I mean, it was just so cool to go up against a star-studded lineup like that and really have probably the crown jewel on the crown of my career. In 2013, my last start in spring training, knew that I'd made the team. I was on the opening day roster, go out for my final start 2 days before we break camp. And my 3rd outing, it may have been the first warm-up pitch, I can't remember, but I ended up tweaking a muscle in my forearm. And that ended up putting me on the DL. Then that led to bone inflammation in my elbow, which when I was trying to rehab, I was just pitching terribly. Couldn't figure out what was going on. Ended up having an 8 ERA in AAA through my rehab, and then when I got optioned down, it was just an exhausting time trying to figure out what was wrong. And then we figured it out, and I felt like I was back on the path. And that whole time right there was just a real tough one, just because I thought I was on the proper road to set myself up for a decent major league career, and it just didn't happen. There's a couple aspects that I really miss of the game. One of the big ones is the extreme high level of competition. That's probably the biggest thing that I miss. And it's so fun being out on that field in front of 30, 40, 50,000 people and going up against the best competition in the world.
He struck him out.